Hi, it's Randy Beckett, and this is a quick refresher on HIPAA. So as you know, the PHI, patient information, is protected. And this includes everything from their demographic information, their social security number, phone numbers, address, name, their insurance information, primary contacts, as well as their clinical information, which would include, of course, all their medicines, all our progress notes, anything that we imported from another provider, test results, everything that's in there, as well as their billing information. So this is all protected. They are able to access this information. We have to release it at their request. Also, we have to release it at the request of somebody they've designated as a representative. And we can also release it to hospitals, other providers, as requested and as given permission by the patient. And also in the case that the patient is incapacitated, we can release that information for their well-being. Now, so all of that is handled mostly with the staff in Omaha. It would be unusual that providers would be asked to, release this information. Of course, it's imperative that we don't use regular email to send protected information, and that if there is communication done, that it be through our chat in VC or in touch when it comes available. So this is all very important, and it's our responsibility as staff, administration, and providers to maintain this privacy. Now, there's another thing that's really important, and that is that between provider to provider, or provider to staff, or staff to staff, vice versa, either way, that we only communicate about patient protected information for clinical reasons, or it can be for billing reasons. So if we get contacted about a code related to a visit that we had as a provider, then we can communicate through the chat about that, or through the telephone. And of course, people in billing can communicate back and forth. And if we are going to ask that somebody schedule an appointment or upload a document as a provider, make a request of the people in Omaha, then they can do that as long as it's related to the patient's clinical care. If we do not have the right to discuss between any of us, either in administration, staff, or providers, between providers or with the staff and providers, all those conditions I mentioned before about just patient information when there is no clinical reason or perhaps a billing reason to do so. So if somebody is, has an interesting case or an interesting life or interesting information, it's not something that we can just say, oh, hey, by the way, I saw Joe Smith the other day and he had this going. That's gossip, okay? And that does not rise to the level of needed information to pass between anyone who's involved in the patient's care. So please keep that in mind. Now, if between providers, I contact another provider and say, hey, I've got this patient and they're on this medicine, and I'm kind of concerned about that. Could you take a look at this with me? So we're doing kind of a consult with somebody else, then they can look at the patient's chart because it's for a clinical reason. And, you know, some of you have contacted me and we've talked about patients, and, you know, we can go back and forth and pick each other's brains about situations, but for clinical purposes. And the staff, you know, if they have problems with, could you look at this and see if this is the right insurance or if this is the right, that's fine, as long as there's an administrative reason to do so. And as you all know, from working with EMRs for many years, that the EMR tracks who accesses patient charts. So if it ever came up that there was a situation where somebody made a complaint, then you know, they would subpoena and they would be able to find out who accessed patient charts. So that's important. So I think we do a pretty good job at this. And I just want to remind everybody how important this is. And we all want to keep our personal information private. And we need to offer that same courtesy to every patient that we take care of. It's not only our ethical duty, but our legal duty. Thanks very much.